Welcome to Unity Through Diversity. I am your host, Gina Anayana. Unity Through Diversity is a podcast where we acknowledge and celebrate individuals' unique soul gifts through each guest's personal story in order to empower and encourage you to recognize and reclaim the uniqueness in your own soul frequencies. So we, as a collective, can truly embrace unity through diversity in our life. Enjoy the podcast. All right. Welcome to Unity Through Diversity, and today I'm gonna bring on my soul sister Lucie, and I'm your host Gina Anayana. And today we're gonna talk a little bit about the topic of aligning with our soul passion. And I met Lucie. Actually, I just met you physically. I just actually literally met you 4 days ago, but I already know her 2 years ago, right? Through Fifth Service, and we've been interacting with each other and also talk about this incredible, beautiful creation that she's birthing, and I will let her talk about that. But through this birthing process, we kind of back and forth a little bit, already know each other, and we felt this connection. So welcome, Lucie. Welcome to Unity Through Diversity, and it's my honor to have you be here. And I want to have you to bring you on this podcast for last 2 years. Since I had the idea of birthing this podcast, so finally you are here. So welcome. So how about you just give our audience a little bit your background? Obviously we know your name. I know you're from, and what do you do? We could be full time. We are in the transition of from our day job to align with our passion, right? So will you give us a little bit background of who you are, where you're from, what do you do?
Sure, thank you for the beautiful introduction. And yes, like Gina mentioned previously, we have both been connected through the Container of Fit for Service. And it's so nice to finally meet you and hug you in person.
I know. You are taller than I thought. I was like, this girl is so tall, and I wear my flats. I was like, can I tiptoe, take a picture with you?
Yeah. So as you can probably tell from my accent, I'm originally from England. I have been a traveller all of my life. I have moved from country to country, continent to continent, mainly as a chef for most of my adult life, and most recently discovering a new purpose and passion in the form of an application. So I'm a first-time tech startup founder bringing to life an app called TEMPLA, which is an interactive vision board to help people visualize and track their manifestation progress, and which has been something very dear to my heart in recent years. So yeah, that's a little bit about where I'm from, what I do, and where I'm going.
Okay, so when we talk about passion, right? You mentioned that you've been chef for most of our years, and now you're birthing the new this creation to help people to bring to this manifestation. So I want to backtrack a little bit. It's how did you get into cooking? Being a chef to. Like, obviously, if we're doing that for our life stuff, something probably stir in your heart. Is like, hey, this is something I want to do. So we want to know this little spark, like from where, from a certain event, and you're like, oh, this is what I want to do.
Well, it was very much by accident and out of lack of knowing what else to do, to be honest. I left school at 16, and I really didn't know what I wanted to do. But further, I had no idea. I was feeling really, really lost towards the end of my teens. And this spurred, I guess, a need to adventure and find where I wanted to do, what I wanted to do. And I was living very close to London and worked in some bars in London. I was enjoying the nightlife there. And my sister told me about a friend of hers who had just come back from working on yachts, these private yachts. You've probably seen them on shows such as Below Deck and all that kind of jazz. And that kind of sparked a little bit of an interest because I love traveling and finding out that you could make pretty good money in a short space of time. I signed up to go to France when I was 19 to try and get some work on these yachts. So I left with my big sister, luckily, because I don't think I would have done it without her. And all of us, when I got to France, it was clear for me that England and London would be something that I probably wouldn't go back to. As soon as I heard the thing of Caribbean seasons and venturing to even more amazing exotic places, I was like, I'm in. And so I did one season as a stewardess, which is the like a server and a housekeeper type of responsibilities, and that didn't really float my boat. I didn't really have much confidence talking or serving in front of people, but what I was really fascinated in is the chef behind the scenes, doing something creative. And of course I loved food. I love food and all pleasures that we get to enjoy in this earthly plane, and so I was just always in the galley checking out at the amazing things that they were creating. So the next job that I was able to go towards was, I just worked my way up, getting the least amount of experience needed to then eventually going and working in catering companies and restaurants and getting more experience until I was able to take the chef's role in the yacht. So it was definitely...
How long it take from when it's really interesting, instead of serving front, like I want to move to the background, how long it take you from the, that moment to fully, I'm comfortable now, I can be there, the chef, prepare the food for...
Well, I always just jumped in the deep end. So I did one season as stewardess.
Yes.
And then the next job that I took, I was on a much smaller yacht. I was the deckhand, the chef, and the stewardess. So it was like a multi-responsible role where my cooking skills didn't obviously have to be amazing because I was doing a million other things. It was more like, preparing, making things look pretty on a plate that I'd already bought from the supermarket, but slowly but surely I was learning how to cook certain different dishes and then learning from other people. It wasn't, I guess, my first ever full-time chef role was 2 years after my first role in that industry. So, but I was always second guessing myself. I would always be in complete anxiety every time I would take a new job. I never really felt until really recently, towards the end of that career, that I felt like I was actually doing something great. So it's just been an interesting ride. But my passion, everyone else's response and was always great. They loved my food and they were like, you need to believe in yourself more. But it took a really long time for me to fully own that and to just trust myself that what I was creating was good enough. And it was. Clearly I've worked in some amazing roles over the years, but it took me a long time to then create a website for myself to get the right clients, and that all came a lot later. But the belief and the hard work took a lot of time and effort to become a master at anything.
So interesting, because you mentioned the self-doubt, and you're like, but recently I kind of I see what I'm doing and I really own it. And that's a lot of time I feel like university is like, we are learning certain things, it takes us a lot of time to finally have the realization is like, I'm doing it, I'm this, not say, use the title to identify, but you really own what you're doing. And that's the time the universe is going to open different door for you because you've completed that lesson. That's a lot of wisdom in this, job, or, you love so much, or you like, I'm not sure, but I'm doing it, right? For whatever reason it is. But what I realize a lot of time in our life is when you really surrender, be with it, and then complete the lesson, universe is going to lead you to. And I can see the transition even from, working on the yards was probably pretty exciting. I never really been to those big ones, stuff like that. I was kind of fascinating. I was like, what's going to look like? And, all there, but back there, what people's doing, right? So it would be totally different. Now the door open for the creation you're bringing in is a transition period.
Yeah.
So, since we're talking about aligning with our passion, I want to ask, if How would your mom describe you? Or how would your sister describe you? Either way, which one you want to go first? If you 3 words, like what they would say if I ask them, hey, how would you describe Lucie?
Adventurous.
From your mom?
Yeah, probably from both.
Okay.
Passionate.
Okay.
Ooh, this is a good question. I think my mom also would say inspiring.
Inspiring.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a good one because, you asked me with Gina, tell me about 3 good qualities. It's probably going to be different from other people, right?
Yeah.
So, passion and also adventures and then also inspiring. Will you give us some little story about your like childhood? Maybe, that's a reason, right? Why those are 3 words?
I guess it would be because I kind of like the rainbow sheep of the family.
What is a rainbow sheep? I know black sheep, but I didn't know the rainbow sheep.
It's a bit more psychedelic.
Okay.
So I've lived a really adventurous life, and I haven't really played by the rules.
Okay.
I just kind of always followed my intuition, which is definitely against the grain of a lot of how people live. So my mum's always been really supportive. She's suffered a lot through her mental health, so I find that she is almost in awe of the way that I live my life, because she lives in so much fear herself. So she lives vicariously through my life choices.
Yes.
And she's always pretty supportive, even though it means that I'm not with her all the time. She's very proud of me, I guess, to live without the fear that holds her back from living her true potential. So I can't live anyway else, to be honest. I just have I've always, since just previously to my connection to my spirituality, I've always just followed my intuition. I've always just known that before I went to France to work on these yachts, it was a very clear directional yes, I had to do this for myself. I didn't know what was beyond going for that trip. I kind of knew that I would be going just for one summer, but as soon as I got there, I was like, oh, this is my path for the time being. And then from then I've made some big choices after different breakups or different endings of my life and periods of change. I've always known, oh, I need to be here now, so I will pack up and move. And from the outset, I could imagine that would seem quite potentially irresponsible or unpredictable from other people's viewpoints. But for me, because of how it feels inside of me, I just know that that's the right thing, and I know that my intuition hasn't really ever let me down. It's just always just brought me onto the next phase of where I needed to be and what I needed to learn.
Yes. And for this job, if you call it one of your passion, and I know that you're also in different countries, right? Not just in the United States or France. Also, you live in Australia, is it?
Yeah.
So, what opportunity took you there?
So when I was working on the yachts,
Yes.
My ex-partner, I met him through that industry, and he grew up in Australia. He's Australian. So in 2008, we left Europe and we moved to Byron Bay in the east coast of Australia. Amazing, beautiful, spiritual, tiny little community of wonder. It's like one of the most amazing places I've ever had the pleasure of living. And that was home for 10 years of my life. I just recently left in 2019, and I still really hold a lot of roots and love for that area and the people in it. And I've just been really fortunate to find myself in these amazing communities throughout my life. So I'm just very, very grateful for that period of time.
Yeah, I'm pretty curious because before we recording the podcast, we talked a little bit that when you were little, you guys moved frequently for a period of your time. Now, because we unfolded the story, I can see you also moving from country to country. So I think my question is, how do you feel about now really, right, when you connect those things, when you were young, or move here, move there, does that kind of help a little bit? Now you're moving from country to country, or does actually underneath is like, do you feel, is there any place that you could call this is I can root here?
Yeah, I think because of the childhood moves, and
How old were you, by the way?
so from the age of 7 till 19, I think we moved over 10 times, way over 10 times, to different countries. Even I lived in France when I was 10, and we moved house twice in one year there.
Yeah.
And so there was a period of a lot of my childhood where we were just moving from house to house due to my parents' financial situations, and then that preceded that kind of adaptability and resourcefulness that I accumulated through those experiences, which was a gift as well as a curse. So I have always really adapted to change and been able to think on my feet and understand that you can create home wherever you are, really.
Yes.
Which is a gift. And the people and friends that I've made from all over the world, I really do feel like any country that I rock up in, I can, not every country, obviously.
Go to China.
But I do have like a beautiful network of global family all over. And so it does make me feel, I guess, certain invincibility almost, because I feel like I've got community, and I can create friends, and you can create wherever you go. You don't have to rely on what's solely around you or where you came from. You can always recreate that in different areas. So, and even working on yachts, I was never really grounded, obviously, because I was floating in the ocean and moving around. So even if I was living on a yacht for over a year, we would be stopping off in different locations.
Yes.
And I just feel like this has given me, I guess, the strength to really be able to build something new, and know that everything's constantly changing and moving anyway. So you can be a part of that.
Yes.
And just that knowledge that change is good and you can thrive with change. Not to say that I don't need some grounding, because I think that that's also taken a toll on my nervous system in recent years.
Yes.
But I also just love that I have a piece of my heart in all of the countries and all the people I've met all over the world. And it does make me feel just so grateful to have lived all of the different lifetimes in this one lifetime that I've got.
Because in my mind, when you say those countries, like in my mind, literally I have this globe and all the little hearts or the stars marked out. That's amazing, because obviously I'm here because I love to travel. And however, like I'm be here already 12 years. And before I was in China, I was moving different cities, go to high school, college, and work. I was in Beijing for 7 years, and then came here. But however, my move, like certain period of time, is not like zigzag. But I always like, in my mind, I was always want to travel, just go in and out and go around the world. So also that sounds amazing. But however, when we connect with our childhood, right, experience, then that's where my question is from. Is like, I'm so, happy or proud of you that actually, the strength of, being like flexible, creating where you're on the way to go. And however, as a sister point is like, I'm more of like caring. Is that also longing for home? What is really home means? Because everybody's definition of home is different, and especially we are, we are one. However, we born in under certain family, certain culture. So we're in our like life journey, and a lot of time I feel like, where's my home? The frequency of home that make me feel cozy, loved, supported, feel the warmth in my heart. I'm longing for that feeling. So it just doesn't matter. It's like I'm here for 12 years. I live in this same city now. I just moved to different city, but what is really home, what I'm creating. Or maybe we can even used to talk about like the intention of you creating the new project, right? Yes, why it made you feel so passionate to create, to birth this new creation to the world.
So I guess having, and I've kind of realized this recently, my ambition and intention by creating financial abundance for myself comes from a deep longing of really wanting to create my own home and a place for not just me, but to be a conscious provider for my family, not in the sense of I'm not in a relationship or neither do I have children, but for my global family that I just mentioned. So I can feel in my part of my timeline, I don't know how it will be 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, or whenever it will be, I have a sense that I will live on a piece of land and I will have many different dwellings on the land, whether it be tree houses, campsites, or like little cottages, and then a main house, and that I can have this place so that I can invite as many people as possible and just be able to provide this sense of home and stability that I just didn't grow up with. And I really have a sense that is like my part of my dharma. And so I kind of got this inclination of wanting to have this as my dream, but then not knowing really I was like, well, I can't just it's a really nice dream, Lucy, but how are you going to do that? So then I was like really tuning into the possibility of creating financial abundance for myself, and I've had kind of like an up and down journey with that in my life. I was getting paid relatively well when I was working on the yachts, but I didn't really invest particularly well, and when I had the breakup with my ex, I suffered a lot of financial loss in that part of my life. So really having to build up from that period, and knowing and getting into meditation and manifestation and understanding that you do create your reality. And how was I going to get from this moment in time to that lofty dream that I have? And it's a very, I say lofty dream, it's a really clear, vivid understanding that is part of my destiny. So I was just working on creating the opportunity of of knowing, well, how will I get there? And in 2018, I really delved deep into the work of Dr. Joe Dispenza and just devoured how he was so eloquently expressing what the nature of manifestation and meditation and how that works together within creating that meditation practice to really feel into these parts of ourselves, and how he uses neuroscience and his language to convey that message on a very scientific and grounded approach. I really understood what was happening to our brains when we were meditating, and to have that knowledge of how it and what was happening gave me more of a motivation to really do it every day, because I understood the mechanics of it. And in February 2019, I was sat in meditation, and then I realized that I must build an app to help people visualize, because I felt like you can't really get from your present moment to your dream without having a clear picture of what the dream is. And you need to know what that dream is, because the universe won't respond back to you what you're working towards unless you're saying out loud and in detail what you really, really want. And so it was a very interesting period of life to understand, okay, well, I think I know how I want to build this wealth, and it's through building an application to help people visualize. At that time, I was still working on yachts as a chef.
But plant a seed, right? 2019. It takes years to bring to the life, and it's still in the birthing stage, is it?
I'm just beginning, so really that seed was planted, and it's taken 3 years to germinate, to make some roots, and I feel like just finally the seedling's coming up to the surface. Just a little leaf has popped up through the soil and is now getting some sunshine on it to continue. But it's been a 3-year process of me really letting go of my whole identity and life of a career, a country I was living in for 10 years, belongings, and really like delving deep into really who I was and letting the things go that was no longer needed, and allowing all of this other new stuff to come through, and to really grow and dedicate my life to this new project, which has been a learning period and process in and of itself.
So I have a funny question, because we are talking about building this app to help people to bring the manifestation in the world, right? You got to see it, or you're gonna have this visual part. I'm wondering, back to years ago, have you visualized yourself, like let's say 5 years ago, you back 5 years ago, did you see that, oh, in 5 years later I see myself? Because you're building an app to bring manifestation, but my question is like, is that certain time you're like, oh, I see myself doing that, and actually it happened?
Well, no, but the weird thing was, 5 years ago I'd go to different psychics in the Byron Bay area, and two different psychics said, oh, you're going to be on, like, all I can see is screens. You're going to be something to do with technology. And it's on a screen. And I was like, I'm a chef. I was like,
I have my knife.
Yeah. I didn't understand, because I just was like, I'm not going to that psychic again. They don't know what they're talking about.
Two of them both said so?
Two, like, it happened twice. So I was like, this is so weird. I don't know what they're talking about. And then finally, because I always record the readings, and I listened back.
Is the card reading or what?
Yeah, it's from a tarot.
Okay.
Both of them were tarot, and then they would channel as well. And yeah, it was all to do with screens. And I think the second time that was told, she was like, because it was just when I built my website for my cooking. And I'd spent a lot of time up-leveling my cooking game and getting really like into my mastery and feeling really good about everything. And as soon as I did that, the goalpost changed. It was like, no, change of direction. And I was like, really? And that's when I think, it's like you said before, it's like you reach this level of mastery, and then Source gives you a new quest to start, and it's like the hero's journey starts again. It's like level 1 complete. Now you go to level 2.
And that's totally that's how I feel like, when we are in this human journey, there's no ending, always different level of the lesson or experience. I would say experience, not necessarily lesson. Lesson seems like good or bad, but experience is going to open it up for you once we complete this part of experience. Now I want to circle back and talk about a little bit, because we try to have a more of a kind of the past a little bit, know your life, the other work you did, and now we ease into TEMPLA, right? And are you open to share where it's at right now for this,
Sure.
because you said it now, it took 3 years. This podcast took me 2 years. I was like, how to me, me, like once I want to do things, I will manifest right away type of thing. But this podcast is so far is the longest that the things I created, I birthed through me. It took 2 years, almost 2 years. By this May, it will be 2 years. And it just took me a while, really have this idea, just seeds, and really gathering all the resources and making space, because I didn't have space and energy for this podcast, this creation to come in, is because my physically, time-wise, I didn't have time. I was full-time mom, kind of. Now I have 1 week on, 1 week off. I can travel, so I have time. And also capacity-wise, emotional, I was not available. I went through my divorce, emotion transformation, things like that. My emotional capacity, I don't have the capacity to really drop into, really bring the light, the story out from the guest, whoever is sitting in front of me. So I give it back to you. Maybe you want to share a little bit more of how this TEMPLA, not this thing, this creation works, and how it can help people to support their manifestation, right? Be more living a conscious living way.
Well, TEMPLA, it gives you the capacity and knowledge to know that things don't happen overnight. Okay, so even though I had this idea very, very clearly, it was like extreme, oh my god, this is what I now have to do. I have to change my life for this.
Yeah.
And I'm using the concept of TEMPLA to create itself. So whatever dreams or passions that you know that is in your destiny, it could be 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, 10 years, 20 years, it could be a lifetime. It doesn't matter if it's taking time or there's some impatience within you to be feeling that you're not fulfilling your role yet, just because you know that there's something that you really want to do and you're working towards it. I feel like there's I feel like we're robbing ourselves of just enjoying the journey when we are building something.
Yeah.
So from me having realized what the concept of this app was to then finding the right team, well, firstly changing my environment that I was first living in, changing my career, moving, taking some courses, educating myself, beyond so many different tiny moving parts to get to me where I am today. And just to know, like, just chill, Lucy. It's not going anywhere. If you're working on it every single day and it's still alive in your heart, and you're working towards it, it's not going to go away. The danger is if you've got a lofty dream and you're wanting it to happen, but you're not working on it or you're not thinking about it, then it's not going to happen.
Exactly.
So just allowing yourself to align to that potential every day in your meditation practice, in your journal practice, in every way that you can actively pursue it in some shape or form each day, you will get there eventually. And actually within the app we've created one of the features, which is the progress tracking feature. So it enables you to not only connect with your goal in a visual sense, but also input data to how you're able to connect to that every day. So what practices are you doing each day to make that a reality? So are you journaling? Are you meditating? Are you taking time out to rest? And just allowing yourself to input these micro habits to create the macro of the dream coming to fruition in one part of your timeline later down the track. And as long as you're doing something each day towards it,
you're aligning,
exactly,
back to aligning. Yeah. So what is the process right now? Like it's do you have a timeline or?
Yeah. So right now, the beta version of the app, the MVP, will be in the App Store for iOS in around, it could be, I don't want to give specific dates because it always changes, but
exactly.
April, May time. So we're looking for beta testers to give us the foundational early adopter users, to give us the analytics of what's working within the app, what isn't, and throughout that process we're going to be obviously changing the app to suit our community, and then our official launch will be on 11/11 this year.
Beautiful. The interesting thing is by the time we record this episode and release, it probably will around April.
Oh, brilliant.
Because I have different episodes. I was like, when you're saying that in my mind, it's like, how did we know? Right? How did we know? Wonderful. So I kind of want to, since we are doing manifestation, bring things in real life, I want to imagine now in 2 months right now, that actually is the better version. Now let's jump the timeline a little bit. Now actually it's 2 months later. Now your beta version is ready to release. I want to tap into the energy a little bit and kind of share from your heart what you want to say that time.
Well, I can see in 2 months' time.
Yes.
I'm feeling super accomplished, and I feel that through just beautiful, opportunities like this to talk with people that are aligned with this project.
Yes.
I can feel that we've got a really beautiful, strong base of beta testers, and
we can have some feedback, right?
Yeah, and just like feeling like that there's the momentum's really shifting and moving, and we've got support, because it's so nice to be able to share. I have now a prototype to now share. It's not just a document or me pitching it. It's like now I've got something that I can share in people's hands to see how it will work, and what features light people up when I show them prototype. So this momentum's going to keep building, and our website will be online in its form, and just to create this movement and the beginnings of the community that will be building this app, because it's not just going to be an app for a singular experience. We're really building the TEMPLA community to help share
you have
resources.
Community. So we have the app. Then how you build a community through this app? Do you have different we'll tell it a little bit more, because in my mind I was I understand the app part.
Yeah.
Be careful the drinking there. Yeah. So the app part I understand that. So how you build this community? Do you have on the website have certain to have people interact, share their progress?
So right now, the MVP version that's going to be out in April, May is just the beginning.
Yes.
And from these early adopters, we're going to create a sub-community on a secondary platform.
Okay.
Probably not Facebook, but it will be an alternative to that, where our founding community members can interact with one another.
Yes.
This will just then go to validate our assumptions that this will be a useful tool, and then we would build it into the app interface so that it's actually creating a community of people that want to manifest and support one another in achieving their goals.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to share any of your visualizations. If you want to keep them private, obviously you can.
Yeah.
But you'll be able to share your personal dream and affirmations in the wider community, and then also just share resources. What books have you read recently that have helped you? What podcasts did you listen to that really shone
It reminds me of the Fit for Service
Yeah,
app, because it's literally, right?
Yeah.
All the information there, interaction. You can post your events, you can post the guided meditation, breath work, all those things there. And books, different
It's wonderful.
subcategory. Beautiful. Yes, so it's in April, May. It will be the better version, and I want to ask a little bit more. It's like for the user, right? What would it be? Because there's so many people. Obviously, everybody try to bring their dream to the 3D reality. But do you have the audience group? Because everything we birth, we're probably not going to serve that 80 billion people. Let's just be right.
No.
Like we like this podcast. I always say everybody can listen to, but not everybody can resonate.
Yeah.
We serve this specific group of people. So what is the TEMPLA's this potential, or as you are the creator. We all creator. When you bring this idea with the all your idea audience would it be?
So we've got two. Well, we've identified 4 main groups who we're marketing to, but the main 2 are, we've kind of dubbed them the conscious manifester, which is a female between the ages of 30 and 45. Could be in the coaching industry. She's already walked the walk of the spiritual path for it's not her. It would be like the intermediate skill set of manifesting. This person's already in this and investing in programs such as Fit for Service or just other things. She's already created her own path somewhat and would like some extra assistance. And then the other group of people that we really feel will be well served to use this product would be Gen Z, conscious, spiritual seekers. And so this group of people are obviously younger, and also they're more likely to be on their phone as well. And this would serve as a great tool to help them join their spiritual path, and might be a great stepping stone from not really knowing much about this kind of thing, but then giving them the tools and the information to then begin their journey into manifestation.
Okay, beautiful. Because I better ask, right, for the potential user to like what is design is this beautiful thing for. And also I want to touch a little bit more of because I kind of know a little bit, because we talk a little bit, but I don't know after we last talk whether things change, like whether things changed it. So we would go a little bit of walk people through how this thing work. Right, we talk about is our potential user and other things, but how this app really gonna more of go to the tech part is that how you if I tell you that's something I want to manifest. Let's say I want to manifest a land, right? Because I do healing things, right? And I really want to manifest a land next to the water, lake, and I will see my greenhouse and things. How can I bring from my mind to in this app and help me to track my progress?
To create something of material.
Yeah.
So basically the app works in a way that you can draw up specific pieces of content, whether it be video, your photos, or anything representational of the thing that you're trying to manifest.
Maybe sound too, right?
Yeah.
Maybe water sound.
So first of all, it's the visual, and then you can overlay it with your voice, reading out loud the affirmations. There will be a library of affirmations pre-written, or if you want to write your own, you're able to as well. So you can speak out loud and record your own voice proclaiming these affirmations, and then overlaying that with some music as well. So we're really creating a multi-sensory experience. It's like a multi-sensory vision board, if you like. So it's something that you're listening to or watching every day, so that it's not just, you're not just thinking it when you know, oh, I'd like to do that one day. You're living it. Part of you is investing time and your energy into that potential every single day, and then paired that with the progress tracking features, it's then giving you the opportunity to record your process with achieving that goal. So how, you know, if you're wanting to buy land, great, is a great example. So every day you can't, unless you were a millionaire, you would just go out and look for land and buy it. Job done. It's not really manifesting. So this enables you to, like, okay, so say if you to input and create that template around on the 1st of February or 1st of March, and say, look, this is my intention to birth this into existence. And so every day you would watch that template, giving your consciousness the ability to anchor into that potential and the quantum, and giving yourself the opportunity to understand what's your inspired action, what steps are you taking every single day to get closer to that goal. Are you reading up on how to buy land? Are you looking at pieces of land for inspiration? Are you wondering, you know, like, what location are you looking at? And just getting clearer and more succinct about your process and how you're bringing that into existence. And also, like, what steps are you taking to just really give yourself self-love and care and healthy habits that you're doing each day to then reflect your intention to that dream. What
are some unique features you would give us a sneak peek, right? Because I think one time we talked about, you mentioned about have your own face. Do you still have that feature?
Well, that will come much later down the track.
Okay, so, but I was remember that I was that.
That's gonna, we'll keep that in the little secret sauce box. Did I just spoil it? No. But we've got to validate, because this is all user-led information. So once we've got this beta version out, then any of the features that we're proposing will need to be validated, and then piece by piece we're going to introduce new features, and then that will keep building as our audience dictates that, because we're not going to put in something that we haven't first been told that is needed from our users and community. So there are some really exciting things up our sleeves, which are really mind-blowing in terms of how we can help people visualize things. But they'll come slowly. So just let you guys aware. I might just give you guys little the content maybe not ready yet, but guess what? That's very exciting, because during the birthing process, it's just something, give a little bit of spark, right? That's really, really like beautiful. So if how people can connect or follow, what's the step? Is there any for this TEMPLA, any social media that is out there that people can follow up, that get more information about the progress? Yeah, sure. So the website is www.templa.app. So it's TEM for magic, P for potential. Magic potential. Okay. LA.app app.
Okay.
And then the Instagram is TEMPLA.app too. And then my personal Instagram is Lucie Dawson _ so it's LUCIEDAWSON.
Okay.
And there'll be updates along the way, and for sure we'll definitely keep in touch and keep you updated with all our progress.
Before we close, this episode, somehow I feel called to ask one question. Is the dream that as a little girl, is there any dream when you're a little girl you had some dreams somehow that they want me to ask this question, like that little 5 years old you when they had a little dream? Is there something that pop up that you think it's like more of align where what you're doing right now, like, because we are talking about aligning our soul purpose, right? And our younger version of us usually is the innocent, this pure essence of who we actually still have it inside our body. And what that little girl want to create, how she felt like.
I wouldn't say I had a definite dream, but I always knew that there was a business concept within me. And so what I would take and leave with your audience is, if you know that there's something that you want to do in life, and for me, I became really impatient with myself because I think I started nearly 5 businesses before I got this one and ran with it. So, and then I would berate myself for being a stop starter and not really finishing anything off, and just getting in my head that I couldn't, you don't finish anything off. But when this idea came to me, I knew things were different, and I knew that this was my path. So just knowing that if you have that feeling, just keep exploring and keep searching and keep being curious about what lights you up. Because eventually you will land on something that's going to feel so right that you'll know is undeniably part of your destiny, and all the other little starting kind of
it's prepare
things,
you,
just preparing
and shape you to gain all these little tools or the resources that you might need to prepare for this one. But experience itself is valuable. Even though they didn't get you to the place you want to get to, but the experience itself is very valuable. Adding up towards the, not say main one, you might gonna have this very successful, and then there's use this experience to build something even bigger, right? Who knows? Seriously, who knows? But that's beautiful. Thank you so much, sister. And thank you guys for tuning in for this episode of Unity Through Diversity. And I'm pretty sure that I'm gonna see you very soon, since you moved to California, right? In California. So you're in the United States. So we don't need to wait 2 years to see each other now. So thank you so much for coming here and share your story with us. And I see you soon. I love you.
Thank you, Gina. Love you.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of Unity Through Diversity. I will see you in next episode coming soon. Take care, and I love you.